There's no doubt there's a problem with this team. However, hey, go figure. Maybe sleep did me some good because I'm super optimistic about the Giants. Because I look at their schedule coming out of the break, and I say, 3 in Coors Field against Colorado. 4 at Dodger Stadium. The Dodgers are reeling right now. They are reeling. Now's a great time to catch them.
They have no pitching.
No pitching whatsoever. So you know what? That's 7 games right out of the block where I'm saying, can I go 4-3? Can I go 5-2?
Yamamoto, their high-priced free agent. You and I were talking about him, $300 million. I said, he's even throwing a bullet in the Major Leagues.
We both were out on that.
60-day DL?
We both were out on that. 60-day DL, IL. So you got 7 right out of the block. And then you come back home, and you got Colorado for 4, and you got the A's for 2. Now I'm saying to myself, boy, that July 31st deadline, what did the Giants come out the gates here? And they start rolling. And Farhan's talking about, well, you know what? The players dictate what direction we go in. And they start winning some games here. And then you get Robbie Ray back with Logan Webb, with Blake Snell. All of a sudden you're saying to yourself, in the National League, anything can happen with this schedule down the stretch. This schedule made full Farhan into not trading anybody or full Farhan into buying somebody. I don't know. But when you look at that schedule coming out of the All-Star break, Shasky, I cannot be a little optimistic saying, you know what? Those first 11 games, 7 against Colorado, 4 against the Dodgers. Who's to say they can't go 8-3 and flip the script?
You can, but I'm
optimistic, Bonte.
They've had about 1 10-game stretch that made me feel like, wow, something really special is cooking. Everything else has been up, down, up, down, up, down. And every time I'm ready to wrap both arms around them, they lose 2 out of 3 to a team that they shouldn't lose 2 out of 3 to.
What will make you wrap your arms around them?
I want to see them go around the rotation. Again, they don't even have a rotation, but 2 times where it's like, all right, we got 4 quality starts.
Right.
4 from our starters. So, number 1, like Birdsong and Harrison. I thought Harrison had one of his best starts of the year. His last start, that was very encouraging. He looked like he was in complete command. I thought it was a young man who clearly benefited from time off.
We'll give Bob Melvin credit for pulling him when he pulled him.
Because
he was wilting. He was wilting in those final 2 innings. Bo Mel pulled him at the perfect time.
Perfect time. I actually think Bo Mel's been good this year. Not great, but good. And we could quibble with a lot of little stuff, but I think he's been good this year. He's been dealt a pretty difficult hand.
How many times he's got to go to Sean Jelly? How many times he's got to go to Luke Jackson, Miller, Ryan Walker, Rogers? He doesn't have it. He's wearing these guys out.
Right. And so, Birdsong is so young. He's thrown a lot of innings already this year. I don't know what they can rely on him moving forward, but Logan Webb leads them in every category in terms of pitching. Every category, especially from the starting spots. And then you look at Blake Snell. Okay, encouraging 2 starts in a row. Last one was dynamic. Even if he's in between what we saw in between those 2 starts, you're talking about a guy. Look around the National League. There's not a lot of pitching right now.
No.
Every team in baseball needs pitching. So one of 2 things. You stay in the race and you stick with Snell. You fall out of the race, you trade Snell. Those are the 2 options for me.
There's no doubt those are 2 options. And whoever trades for Snell may get one hell of a pitcher. We cited the numbers in July, August, and September, lifetime-wise. He gets better as the season goes along. He's a second-half pitcher. Right now, he's in a groove that if you do trade him, I best get something back. Good.
Well, you should.
I should get somebody who's knocking on the doors up in the major leagues. I'm not just trading Blake Snell for a single-A prospect and then saying, this single-A prospect may not ever come up. Let's just keep it moving. No. If I trade Blake Snell, I better get something good in return.
There's an arms race going on in the AL East. It's just look at it. It's Yankees and Orioles.
Yep.
Yankees have been leaking oil for about a month now. They don't look good. They need a third baseman, and they need a starting pitcher. The Orioles need a starting pitcher, and they probably need bullpen help. If I'm the Giants, and if I can't stay in it, I'm telling you right now, I'm saying, here's Doval, here's Chapman, here's Snell. If I'm not in it.
Not in it. You know what? What's funny about this team, and I get it. Every time we're down and out on them, they start winning some games.
It's true.
They start winning some games. Like, we went into that Blue Jays series last week thinking, boy, 8-5 during that 13-game stretch. Wow, you should have won 2 or 3 against the Guardians, but you played hard. You went down to the final out. You beat the Braves 2 or 3. All of a sudden, you beat the Dodgers 2 or 3. Oh, man, maybe you're cooking with hot grease here. Every time we get high about them, they fall flat, like the Blue Jays lose 2 or 3. Jordan Hicks can't get out the 4th inning or whatnot. But then you beat the Twins 2 out of 3, and you're thinking to yourself, well, you playing the Twins tough, and then you come out of the break here. What if you do come out of the break hot? Anything can happen in this league, man. Of
course anything can happen.
So that's why I'm saying, boy, if I got Snell pitching like this, and I have Logan Webb, and Robbie Ray striking out 9 in the minors, and we know who Robbie Ray is, and he comes back and he's electric, All of a sudden, I got 3 top-of-the-line starters in my rotation, and I'm saying to myself, well, you know what? Maybe I should try to sneak into this block. Because if you're Farhan Zaidi, I believe if you're Farhan Zaidi, Shasky, you cannot afford to not make the playoffs. I think you're gone if you don't make the playoffs.
I don't know about all that. All I know is this, is like, it's hard to take a team serious where I don't even know who's going to start at shortstop every day. It's just hard. It's the most important defensive position in baseball outside of catcher.
Give Wisely some credit, though. He's playing well, man.
Wisely's playing
well.
They played Fitzgerald there. They played Wisely there. And, like, again, Wisely's got 50 games under his belt this year. 50 games. Like, that's half of the games that they've played. So they've got to figure out a long-term solution at shortstop. I'm just saying it's difficult for me to take a team serious that boots the ball around a lot, okay? Doesn't have great starting pitching and doesn't know who their shortstop is for most days. That's a tough sell. And I don't think that's me being a hater or anything. I think it's just me being realistic.
We're looking at the first half of the season, though. And this thing can flip. It can flip. It can. But we'll see if it does. 888-957-9570. What's your grade for the Giants in that first half of the season? They're 47-50. Their pitching is god-awful. The hitting is in the middle of the lineup. Middle of the pack in Major League Baseball. 24th in home runs. They don't hit for power. I didn't even talk to you about stolen bases. They got no speed whatsoever. Do you know who leads the team
in stolen bases?
Who? Jung-Hoo Lee? No, I'm kidding.
Jung-Hoo Lee, who's 2 of 3 on his stolen bases this year.
Or Matt Chapman. 2 of 5.
Matt Chapman on pace for 17 stolen bases. He has 9.
Oh my God.
Well, Chapman's been a good set. See, this is a great example of the Farhan experience. Chapman individually has been a really good signing. He has, but he's on a 1-year deal. You surrendered either a 2nd or a 3rd round pick to sign him because the draft was over the weekend.
Right.
And if he bounces, he leads them in 9 categories offensively.
It's terrible.
Okay, so if he leaves, that's a good 1-year signing, but then what? That's the hard part for a Giants fan. It's like, all right, I'm rooting for Chapman. I really like Chapman. I want him to be here. But what are we building to?
So I heard Mark and Dibley talking earlier today. Mark was talking about the Patrick Bailey triple, about the ballpark. I think this organization, to Mark's point, he was talking about, Bailey should have had a home run Saturday night. He gets a triple. He hit it loud, and he was upset about it. And I'm thinking to myself, the Giants have done an awful job over the last, ever since Bodge, really, of not building around the ballpark when it comes to your lineup. We were talking about the Cardinals a few weeks ago with Matt Nahegan and how they built that lineup with nothing but speed. Vince Coleman on turf at Busch Stadium, knowing that we need speed. The Giants have done a terrible job of building a lineup around this ballpark. You look at Triples Alley, look at the big gaps. Why don't we have speedsters at the top of the lineup? The Giants should be building a team that is in the top 5 in stolen bases. Give me some guys who can run, who can turn singles into doubles into triples. Maybe get a couple of inside the park home runs. The fact that they just trot out these sluggers or these mediocre average, or not even mediocre, but average type players where, okay, he's going to bat 240 and hit you 18 home runs. No, you're constructing a lineup wrong. You need to get speed, get a couple power hitters, and then go from there. The lack of speed and athleticism offensively is probably the biggest thing I'm disappointed with when it comes to the Farhan era.
You know what I'm tired of hearing? Is about the ballpark's dimensions. Because when you look at the splits for this team on the road, it's not like they're world beaters on the road offensively. Yeah. And then lastly, okay, you guys want to beat up the dimensions of the ballpark and the quirks of Triples Alley. Does anyone complain about Fenway? Fenway has the weirdest. Look at it on a map. Look at right field and the way that the wall goes, and then look at left field, and you tell me, and center field, and you tell me if anyone complains about Fenway.
You see the new Camden Yards configuration?
Yeah, it's goofy.
It's goofy, but nobody's complaining. They're hitting bobs left and right.
How about Houston?
Yeah, nobody's complaining.
Is Houston complaining?
Nobody's complaining.
When Yordan Alvarez goes off the wall in left center field, I'm kind of tired of hearing that as a blanket excuse. Let's talk about the actual team that they've constructed and the personnel. And to your point, if I would have had Alec Thomas and let's say Corbin Carroll last year in the outfield, their game translates better with the speed and the gap hitting than a Yaz. I'm sorry, it just does. Yaz is your team leader with 5 triples.
I know. It's pretty wild. Hey, congrats to Yaz yesterday. The Little League home run yesterday to win that game against the Twins after Duvall blows it in the ninth inning. A fitting end to his first half of the season.
It's ironic because most Little League ballparks don't even have dugouts that you can throw into like that. That was that was bad. I mean, the center fielder completely misplayed that ball. It was the right fielder.
Margot, the former San Diego Padre.
And Buxton almost killed himself 3 times this weekend on the fence.
All right, man, we're off from 10-2. This feels crazy. Crazy right now. We got to calm down a little bit. We're off Coca-Cola. We're off coffee. We're high on life right now because we didn't have to wake up so early in the morning. That's right. We're jacked up all week long. Willard and Dibs from 6 to 10. Morning Roast from 10 to 2. Steiny and Goof from 2 to 6. Presented by Jack's Restaurant and Bar. Shout out to our great friends at Flowing Water Plumbing and Drain. If you're going to call it to the roast, you better bring it because if you don't, you will be flushed. Brought to you by Flowing Water Plumbing and Drain. What's coming up on the game? Brought to you by Crystal.